This webinar was organized to speak on behalf of Amy Coney Barrett.
What distinguishes Judge Barrett is her extraordinary goodness, her humility, her integrity, her open-mindedness, her collegiality. As a colleague of hers for the past 15 years at the University of Notre Dame, I couldn't have hoped to have a more generous colleague, a more kind presence in the law school.
I had this picture in my mind, it turns out rightly, of Judge Barrett as a kind of superwoman. And there's always that chance when you get to be up close, in person, day in and day out through the grind of life and work and everything else, you might see something behind the scenes that you don't like. I am pleased to report that that could not be further from my experience in Judge Barrett's chambers.
This idea that Professor Barrett is somehow handicapped by her family size or her commitments, it just shows that I don't think these people who are saying that have ever met someone who is practiced at the act of radical love the way that Professor Barrett is, because radical love makes you a bigger person. It expands your heart. It doesn't constrict it.
One time, one of my co-clerks hurt his ankle playing basketball, and he was hopping around chambers. And all of a sudden, Judge Barrett disappeared for 15 minutes after she saw him and came back with a pair of crutches.
These friends are concerned how harsh this week's hearings might be, but are confident she'll handle it just fine.
If past is prologue, what we can expect to see is the same type of grace under fire and the patience and the absolute poise and fortitude that we saw at her 2017 confirmation hearings.
Democrats who hope to knock Amy Coney Barrett off her game need to look back to when she stood before this same committee 3 years ago and under vicious attacks never lost her grace and poise. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Capitol Hill.